My college hacking journey began when I was 15 years old. I took my very first CLEP exam, the Analyzing and Interpreting Literature CLEP exam. If you don't know what CLEPs are, check it out here, but suffice it to say it's a quick way to earn college credit for very little money. And I actually got a really good score on that because it was something I was really passionate about. I loved reading, and I only had to study for like 15 minutes, so it was like a huge ego trip. And at the time, I hadn't really thought much about what I wanted to do for college, but it was just like my mom said, hey, take this test, see what happens. And later on, I started thinking like, I want to go to college, and I was thinking like, oh, Air Force Academy. No, I'd have to say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and spend way too long just learning undergraduate stuff. Liberty University for undergrad, that would be cool, but it would also cost me like $120,000, and unless I got some amazing scholarships, I don't have $120,000. So I had two buddies who were hacking college, the way that we talk about on this channel, and I decided, all right, that's what I'm going to do. And the next spring, I took my second CLEP test, biology, which was also my least favorite because it took me 3 months to study for it. And I survived with actually a really good score, which I'm a little bit pleased with this because I thought I'd scored in the 50s or something like that. But no, I got a passing score. CLEP scores range from 20 to 80, and typically passing is 50. It's a really weird system, but it is what it is. And then I just kept taking CLEP exams the rest of that summer and into the fall. And I guess at that time I'd be 16. And then this next CLEP exam I took when I was 17, college mathematics. This was the highest score I ever got. Really weird because I actually was an English major and I got a master's in English, so weird that my highest scoring CLEP would be a math one. But this one I remember in particular, this one and a couple of U.S. history ones and American government, because, I took these all over the place. So the first one I took in Washington State, then my family moved to North Carolina, and then my mom got cancer. We found out that she had cancer around this time, a few months before January of 2011, and so we went and just uprooted our lives and lived with my grandma and my grandpa for like 3 months when I was 17, and that was, kind of traumatic, but CLEP was there to give me like something to think about and something to focus on and something to work towards. My mom is okay. That turned out really, really well, better than any of us could have really hoped for, I think, or thought to hope for. But during that time, I was able to work on CLEP exams, and it gave me a sense of purpose, a little bit of confidence, and that was really cool. I had another CLEP. Oh yeah, this was my lowest scoring CLEP. Also happened around the same time, though I think this one we were back in North Carolina, and this was American government. I think at this point I had probably started to realize, wow, I'm getting such high scores in these CLEPs. I'm probably spending too much time studying. I need to just go a little bit faster here because, if I'm 17, we're getting close to the end of high school. It's going to be time to start taking college classes soon, right? So, I got a 57 in American government. And then later that year, in June 2011, I got accepted into Thomas Edison's, their degree program. And, actually, I could not find my diploma. We'll come back to this guy in a second. But back then, I was just 17, right? And I had graduated high school a year early. So I thought I was super cool, even though I was not. I was the least cool high schooler that I knew or that anybody else knew. But I had to go through like an extra application process, and it took extra time. But as soon as they basically said, as soon as you graduate high school, you can submit this special appeals process to get accepted into Thomas Edison. Other people had gotten accepted through it too, so I knew that, it'd probably happen, but I was still really relieved when this happened. So this is June 2011, and I want to show you the chart that I used to keep track of all of the CLEP exams that I took. So this was every CLEP exam that existed at the time. The green ones are the ones that I completed. The purple, well, none of them are current because I already finished the ones that I meant to take. Red was unfeasible, basically don't take. So like calculus, yeah, not going to happen. College composition modular, that would have overlapped with college composition, so no point. French and German and Spanish, nah, I wasn't going to pass those without just so much study. And then I labeled blue as difficult, and you can see like chemistry here. I should have just put chemistry as red. I just, if the worst should happen and I had to take it, I didn't want to have to go sorting through the red ones. Some cool stuff here. So this is an example of me taking really bad notes, but a few things you can notice that I think are pretty cool is I kept track of my Peterson's practice test exam scores. And, Peterson's is on a percentage base, CLEP is on a 20 to 80 scale, so it's weird, it doesn't correlate, but I typically got higher scores on my actual CLEP than on my final Peterson, so 61 for this one, and then I actually scored a 61. Analyzing and interpreting literature I didn't do. This one I got a 73 and then scored a 70, so very, very similar. 55, and then I scored, well, it doesn't say. Here we go, 57% And then I went back and retook this one and got a 72. And then I got a 72 on the actual English literature CLEP. 50 I got here. Yeah, for some reason, U.S. history, 2 CLEP exams were like, or practice exams are really, really hard. Bad example again, though, but 56, and then I got a 69. Yeah, that was around the time where I started to realize, man, I'm putting in too much work. I always score higher on the CLEP than I almost always score higher on the CLEP than I score on the actual practice test. So let's just go for it. And then something else cool that I put together as a young man was the secret plan to get 21 credits. I just wanted it to sound cool. But basically, I realized that Thomas Edison accepted social science and history and all the rest of these other CLEPs, plus U.S. History 2 and Western Civ 1 and 2, which I think I'd already gotten at that point. They accepted them as different classes, even though social sciences and history overlaps with all those other guys. So basically, if you study for the little CLEPs, then you could just pass the social sciences and history with like almost no additional study, just like some refresher. And so I earned, 6 extra credits there at the top just by virtue of the fact that I'd already taken the other CLEP exams. Over here, we've got some DSSTs that I took as well that went pretty well. Man, I took I think about 25. Actually, no, I've got a better spreadsheet that I updated so that you wouldn't give you guys a headache. And I took, 25 CLEP and DSSTs. A lot of them I took on Pope Air Force Base in North Carolina. In fact, most of them. And by the time I was done, people started to know my name, and I knew the testing people's name, and it would be like, all right, cool, see you in a week. Because I was really knocking some of these out week after week. In fact, you can see for all the ones that I remember how long I spent studying for them. Analyzing interpreting literature, I spent 0 weeks studying. Biology, I spent 12 weeks, 4 weeks for Western Civ. And you can see I started to get my confidence. Well, no, these ones were pretty rough. So that was around the time that my mom had cancer. And so those ones were taking a little bit longer. But then I really started to hit a stride where 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 6 for U.S. history, or history of the U.S. 1. Yeah, that was a really tough one for me. 3, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 6. Yeah, this one I was putting off English literature. I think I have an actual sheet for it, so we'll come back to that in a second. When I was at Thomas Edison, kind of shifting gears back to Thomas Edison here, these are all the things that I paid for. It says $11,513, but there's like an extra $3,000 charge in here and maybe some other weird stuff. Really, truly, it should come down to $7,423. Again, I was an English major, so I could be off by a few bucks. Here's the social science and history one I told you about. And this is a really good example. Look at this. I had taken all those other smaller CLEP exams, and because I had pre-studied for it and prepared, I scored a 72 pretty easily, which was really nice. Then we've got a DSST. This is what a DSST result printed out looks like. And oh yeah, I wanted to tell you guys about this. So College Hacked has had many iterations. There was what this is, which I'll explain in a second. And then I tried Free CLEP Prep. I tried My College Consultation. And then I tried like a weird version of College Hacked. And then I did Graduate U. And then finally, College Hacked, the channel you see today, came to exist. And so I tried so many times to get this project off the ground, but this was the very first one. And basically, the people at the testing center started to know me so well that I asked them, can I leave some business cards at your desk? And if you have people who need help studying for a CLEP, just give them my card. And then I would literally meet up with these people in a parking lot somewhere. And for $20, I'd give them a list of all the links they needed to know to hack college, all the study resources and places to get CLEP exams. Here's the practice test, the 3 big hackable colleges at the time. And I would, we met, and this is the dorkiest thing, we met in the library parking lot. And then one time I remember meeting at a Starbucks, and then my dad showed up at the time. And basically what I was doing here was the drug-a-deal equivalent of study resource provisions, which I don't know, it's still really funny to me, but I'm so proud of where this started and how I, started getting going. And what a reasonable price. And especially reasonable because nowadays I just give that information out for free in videos like this one. Oh yeah, so timeline wise, where were we? Back in the CLEPs. So around this time right here, right after introductory psychology CLEP exam, I started I got into Thomas Edison, right? And then you can see right here between the August and the December, there's 3 months or 4 months that nothing happened. And that was when I was taking 12 weeks of Thomas Edison courses. So I had to do 4 courses at a time to get their tuition discount, I think it is what was going on. Back then, they let military dependents get the military cost. And maybe they still do. You could maybe appeal it or something like that. But I was able to get a really nice discount, but I still needed to do 4 at a time. So I did that. Then as soon as I passed all of those courses, which I think are actually down here, yeah, you can see news writing where I had to go to local civic events and write articles on it and interview a friend. I think I even out of that got an article published in a local tiny newspaper. It was really exciting. The liberal arts capstone, should have saved that for last, but I wrote like the history of the English language, which was very cool. Advanced American literature and non-Western world lit, where I got taken down a peg because I thought I was so smart. And I thought, oh yeah, testing, I'm passing all these tests. I know everything I need to know. And then they were like, well, yeah, formatting. Oh yeah, you also kind of have your head up your own butt as far as literary theory goes. Oh, here's some books you never even thought to read. Read these, you punk. And it was the most amazing experience, guys. I think in college hacking, we don't talk about this enough, but like actually learning for learning's sake is so incredible. And I know a lot of you guys do that. You've already been doing that, and that's why college hacking comes so easy to you, because you know this information, you just apply it to the tests. But you know, just being able to take those classes, I relished that. It was really, truly amazing. So anyway, that was the end of that semester, and we come out of the end of 2011, and now it's 2012, and I still have a bunch of tests left to take. And you can see this month, basically every week, the 5th, the 12th, the 19th, I took 2 on the 26th together. I did not remember that I did that. That is wild. I'm so proud of myself. And then the big one, people. English literature was a bit of a scary one. Oh, you know what? Let's rewind again. So I had to take 2 more classes with Thomas Edison at the time State College, and one was Jane Austen, where I thought Jane Austen was just books for girls, and boy, no, Jane Austen is books for people who would like to be smart, people who enjoy satire, people who enjoy just a good story and great characters and want to read a really, really good book. Incredible. And then Advanced American Lit 2, which continued the work of Advanced American Lit 1 in taking me down a peg. Thankfully, I got A's in all of this, and because all of the CLEP and DSSTs came in as transfer credit, they were just pass or fail. And so getting only A's in 6 classes, I got a 4.0. Now, I don't think I should be proud of that necessarily. I'm proud of getting A's in 6 classes, but, you know, it's kind of a little side benefit of the hacking process, right? Unless you go to WGU, then you don't get a GPA. But back to English literature. So English literature was a tough one because there were no other CLEPs that would fit the spot that it was supposed to fill in my degree plan. And I'll show you a little bit of my degree plan. So back in the day, this is what the Bachelor's of Arts at Thomas Edison looked like. You had general education requirements, 60 credits, which was great. Now it's closer to like 45, and there's no electives. We had 18 credits of general education electives. So it was like 18 credits of free electives, except they have to be general education focused, aka they need to be some of the easiest courses out there. And so even some of this other stuff, guys, humanities, social sciences, so vague, so wide open. I could really just put a lot of different stuff in there. These days, Thomas Edison is a little bit harder to hack, and you know, there's some courses you actually have to take. You can't hack. Back then, liberal, like there were like the history degree, I believe, you could just take liberal arts capstone and be done. And there were, I think there were a couple of degrees like that. It was amazing. Then the area of study was 33 credits. And that for English, 27 credits of free electives, which is pretty comparable to what they have today, so that's great. But 33 credits in English included, you know, advanced literature, analysis and interpretation of literature, which was that one CLEP test, area of study elective credits, and they didn't have a bunch of those to choose from, so that journalism class I told you about, I actually had to sub that in. I got special permission to do that because I didn't really want to take some of the other lit classes they had to offer, because like I said, they just didn't offer a ton. And so I wanted something that had a little bit more writing to it. Great. But this English literature, I think was supposed to fit into Survey of Literature 2, maybe. And if I didn't pass that CLEP exam, I had 2 options. I either had to go and wait 6 months to take the CLEP again, which would have pushed graduation back, and maybe I think even have given me like a slight extra fee for not taking classes but still being a student. I can't remember. Or I would have to go and enroll in 6 credits of Thomas Edison courses, which would have cost me several $1,000s more. And I didn't want to do that, so I had to pass this CLEP exam, which is probably why I spent 6 weeks studying for it. I was stressed. I really wanted to pass this CLEP, and I remember the day of, I really remember sitting in the parking lot, ready to go inside, and I had my little cheat sheet of, you know, final things to study for and just to review. I left that in the car, and then I went in the building, sat there waiting to take it, and English literature was my jam, guys. As soon as I got in there, it was like maestro playing the violin, and I wrote a song, created a composition, and I passed passed that sucker, and it was such a good feeling. That was like just a huge, triumphant, terrific moment. I still had a couple of weeks or like a month or so of Thomas Edison courses to finish, but after I finished those, I was graduated, and I got a letter that looked like this. Congratulations on June 8th, 2012, because they had to take time to process it, and it was like they would only process the degrees at certain times of the year. The Board of Trustees of Thomas Edison State College approved the awarding of your degree. And then down here was the letter that came with the diploma itself, which showed up a little bit later. And actually, I also got this guy right here that I kind of wanted to brag on to you guys. I don't know if they still do this, but it's called the Arnold Fletcher Award for Exceptional Achievement in Independent Learning. There's always this question of like, does Thomas Edison like us hacking their degrees? But you couldn't tell from this because it's basically an award in taking CLEP exams. They were like, yeah, you transferred a bunch of stuff in from independent learning-based systems. So here's an award for you. Out of all the awards I've ever received, this is probably my proudest and most treasured one. So don't let the dust deceive you. That's just Vegas for you. That is my story. I want to wrap up by just talking a little bit about what hacking my degree did for me. And we're going to take this in stages. So the way high school CLEP benefited from hacking my degree, like current in the process of hacking, and some of this will apply to you too, is it gave me a lot of confidence. I was a little bit too dumb to know that I wasn't cool, and that like sort of fake it till you make it without really knowing that you're faking it kind of energy actually made me a lot of friends. Not very many cool ones, but lots of friends, and I had a good time. But there wasn't anything super remarkable about me. Like I did good at school, and I guess I had a lawn mowing business that was making pretty decent money. So I was hardworking, but the fact that I was earning college credits as like a 15, 16, 17-year-old was actually, it was pretty cool. And I didn't try to brag a bunch, but if, it was easy to insert in conversation, I'm sure I tried. And it just made me feel a little bit special. So yeah, I think at a stage of life where a lot of people struggle with finding something that makes them feel special, I definitely found some value in that. And the college stage, or like the 18 to 22-year-old stage, the stage right after, what it meant for me is that I didn't have any student loans. It meant that I could start earning money a little bit quicker. It meant I could start in on grad school. And for me, that was like the most important thing. Well, I guess the most important thing for me was finishing college quickly. I didn't want to wait around. I'm an impatient guy. And even as like a 17 and 18-year-old, I was kind of like, 4 years of college sounds like a long time. I've just done like 3 years of high school so far. I don't really want to sign up for 4 more years of this, especially if it's going to be so expensive. I would much rather get into grad school, and grad school's typically much cheaper than undergrad because it's shorter, but it also levels up your career to a whole new level. So I was like, I want to do that. And the benefit of that for me was getting to sit in a classroom with people who were undoubtedly smarter than me, with professors who were just letting loose. Like in undergrad, they kind of hold back a little bit because they know not everybody's ready for it. But in grad school, man, they hit you with the truth and the knowledge and the information, and it was great. Held to high standards. I didn't get a 4.0, and for me that was a success because it meant that I'd arrived somewhere where I was being challenged, and I rose to the challenge and got well, it wasn't about the GPA. It was I learned and I enjoyed it, and it was phenomenal. I also got to teach English 101 classes as a 19-year-old, which was crazy. My boss required basically that I keep my facial hair grown out because I just looked like a child, and people would not have respected me if I didn't keep it together. So that was pretty cool. And then, yeah, since then, I'll say that having hacked my degree meant that I was in the situation I needed to be in to meet my wife. It meant that I was able to get a PhD semi-young. I kind of took a break after grad school. I didn't want to take more school. It meant I had some really good job opportunities open up that I never would have been able to get into otherwise. And it meant that I met friends who helped me get in the situation I am now. And it also meant that I was able to pass on the knowledge for you. And so, I'm going to wrap this up with a cheesy piece of information. The two benefits of college hacking that I would really recommend you guys think about if you're on the fence about whether to go and earn your degree through non-traditional credits and, pay for it with much, much less money than the average student and do it much quicker. Two main benefits are the benefit to you and your ability to go and start moving up in your career faster, for less money. And of course, there's the confidence boost that comes with that. But then the second benefit is now you have something really valuable to share with other people. I think that's the best part about doing this channel is I know, and this is not me trying to be arrogant, but I know that with every video I share, we have the opportunity. And because, if you guys don't watch the videos, YouTube doesn't recommend it. And so just by watching this video, you're encouraging YouTube to recommend this to others. So that's why I say we have the opportunity with every video that I make, you support, to spread this information and knowledge about what's possible to thousands and maybe even tens of thousands of other people whose lives would be worse without this information or would not have the opportunity that they get when they watch this video. So thank you guys for being part of that. And I really encourage you, if you're on the fence about college hacking, check it out. If you have any questions about my journey through college hacking, I'd love to answer them. Just comment them down below. And if you're excited about getting started on this trip yourself, I definitely recommend you sign up for a consultation with my team. We'll get you graduated. We often help people graduate for an average of like $8,000 and in under 2 years. Really, honestly, our average is probably closer to like somewhere between 12 and 15 months for getting people graduated. And we'd love to do the same for you. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being cool, and happy hacking.